Welcome back to Driven Channel, and I'm here with a special guest, Senior Robert Barron. Did I say it right?
Señor Roberto Barron.
Señor Robert Barron.
Señor Robert.
But we're like the same age, so am I a senior too?
Yeah, might be.
Soy el señor Alberto Preciado.
Preciado, así es.
Yeah, so we have two señores aquí. But hey, you know what? Like first off, you have a cool story. Like you were born here, but then you went to Mexico.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you came back, opened the business, and now you have two businesses. You have one of your sons right here. You guys are making money. You guys help a lot of people that have RVs.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
But how was why were you born here and then you go to Mexico?
Well, actually, I was born in Exeter, California, a very small town. I went out there probably like 10 years ago just to go and see where I was born. And I didn't like the place. I mean, it was like a ghost town, a small little town, Exeter, California, close to, I think it's between, close to Porterville. I still got a lot of family in Porterville. A lot of them, Porterville, Lindsay, California. We go out there at least twice a year, visit them. But I was born out there, lived in a little town called Corcoran, California. Corcoran was a place where I lived probably until I was 5 years old, and then my mom decided to take us to Mexico. That's where my mom's parents used to live, in San Luis Rio Colorado, Sonora. Yes.
And how long were you there for?
In San Luis.
In Sonora.
In Sonora, well, I'm still there because actually I go out there 2 to 3 times a week, even more if I can.
Haircut?
To get a haircut. That's what I was saying.
Not
no,
Hong Kong.
Actually, I own. Me and my wife own an Airbnb and a place for parties out there, and we're still thinking about making more business out there. Yes.
So how far is Sonora from where you live right now?
I live in Somerton, Arizona, which is very close to Yuma, Arizona. I'm only like 20 minutes away from the border.
Really?
Yes.
How far are you from Scottsdale?
Scottsdale, about 3 hours. Yes, I heard that you were out there. Actually, we went with what's his name? I've been to his
Andy Elliott?
Yeah, Andy Elliott. Yeah, I was out there probably like 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah.
What'd you go there for?
My son's the one that knows more about that. Just like me, I'm not too much. We went out there for, I think, for sales as well, for sales. But it was a very nice. What do you call what he does? I mean, species and all that. Yeah, there was a few people there that he took as well, but he put us to do some exercise and everything the day before and all that. But yeah, it's more, I was out there more to learn, just like with you, Albert. It's like now I follow you, but before I didn't know where I was. I want to start spending money to know myself, to see what I'm capable to do now, you know? Yeah. I mean, to learn. Right now, I'm a little bit where I'm thinking I should start spending on me so I can learn more, because I'm still on the old style. You know, I want to do everything face to face, go meet with my customer, and I mean, that doesn't happen much anymore, you know? Everything's now, I mean, my son always telling me, Dad, you should do things different. And I'm starting 2 years ago. I'm trying to start to do things different, you know. Yeah. But
so where you're at, you're 20 minutes away from Sonora.
20 minutes across. In 20 minutes, sometimes I do more doing line to get out. You could do up to a line just to get out to Mexico, and you could do up to 3 hours. Well, you do up to an hour to get out to Mexico, or 2 hours to get back to the United States, you know? Sometimes I'm more in the line, making line.
Is it hot where you live?
Yes, very warm. Very warm.
It's the same as Phoenix?
Yes. Right now it's like, today I think it was like 110, something like that. Yeah, it gets up, like 2 days ago it was like 115.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were born there, right?
Yes.
And then you lived in Sonora for some years?
What happened is that when I was 5 years old, I remember this very clearly. My dad was in jail in this place called Corcoran.
What did he do?
That back in those days, I think he was I don't know how to say it. He used to be a pollero, bring people across, something like that. And well, for some reason, he got caught out there, and he was in jail. And I remember very clearly one day we had what's the name of this car? Granada. I can't remember. It was a two-door car, and my mom started filling everything in the trunk and everything, just like, hey, you guys got to hurry up, start grabbing your stuff, blah, blah, and, start grabbing all your things. And I was only 5 years old. I had my sister. She's 3 years older than me.
You remember it?
I do remember. It's those kind of things that you remember and you never forget. You never forget. I mean, I remember things that happened even when I was 4, but that's one of the things.
I don't even remember what I did 5 years ago.
Oh, well, maybe. I guess you had a very nice life, probably.
Oh, not really.
Yeah, because there's things that you never forget, You never forget it. I'll probably going to talk to you when he passed away, too. That I can't even, I remember almost even the exact time when they gave me the notice when my dad got killed. But we're going to talk about, we were in Corcoran, and this was at midnight. Mm-hmm. Midnight, I mean, in the night. I don't know what time it was. We had everything, the car ready and everything. And I remember my dad coming in, pulling in the car like very fast. And then suddenly, not even a second or two, we had all cops everywhere. And my dad started running. I saw him where they handcuffed again. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So we didn't stay there anymore. My mom said, you know what? We're leaving to Mexico. So we left. I guess she rented that house, I guess. That I can remember. But yeah, we drove to Mexico. That's like probably 9 hours from San Luis. So yeah, and I can't remember if we had a house already in Mexico or she was building one. But we lived right next door to my grandparents, which they had a small little store. Actually, they had a great business. Their store. She used to have cows, chickens, pigs, everything. So she used to milk or ordeñar las vacas.
Yeah.
So she used to sell her milk, and she used to have a navarrota. She used to sell. They said that she was the greatest beer seller, the coldest ones around San Luis.
Beer.
Tecate, those big caguamas. She had like freezers and freezers of beer.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, and
so your dad went to jail because he was a pollero.
A pollero back then, yes.
But when they stopped him in the car and they were just looking for him.
They knew. No, I'm sorry. He escaped from prison. He had escaped that night from a jail. I don't know from where.
Over there in here in the U.S.
Yeah, in the U.S. In the U.S.
He must be really good.
Yeah. You don't want to get there. I follow his steps. I did follow his steps.
So like, do you know what a pollero makes? How much money do they make?
Back then, no, I don't. Not no more. But back then, well, not even back then, to be honest. He didn't last too much doing the pollero. I guess after a pollero, he became a burrero. He used to bring things across the border. I remember I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. He had a little Datsun truck, and I used to come with. He used to go. Well, he used to work in the fields, right? He started working in the fields when he went back. I remember, but he didn't work that much. I mean, it was probably just to cover his things, right? Because I remember we used to go 1-2 days, fill up half a big box. They used to pay by commission, I guess, and we'll go back. But I always tell my stories, but not in front of a camera, But I remember he used to work with a Datsun truck. And I used to go, and he used to bring things over here to L.A. Mm-hmm. We used to drive all the way from San Luis to Indio or L.A. And I was a little kid, probably 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. But I used to go in the middle with him and my mom. And I remember it used to be a little Datsun, and it was a shift one. Yeah. And the last shift, it would always pop it. So I would go the 5 hours grabbing that little shift stick until wherever he got, right? So, and I knew what he was doing. So I remember one day that they sent us to secondary, and they were banging everywhere, and my stomach started hurting. And those are the things that I tell you that you can never forget, I guess. I guess those are the things that I think that you can never forget, Albert.
Yeah.
My dad, my stomach started hurting and everything, and I can't remember if it was my mom or my dad, and told me, "Cállese, cabrón, it's okay," And I am like, "Oh shoot!" I thought they were gonna get caught or something, because I knew what they were doing, but exactly. So, yes, that's what happened. It's probably until 10, 11 years old, and then he wouldn't do it no more. He would have people do it for him. So he jumped to another category, I could tell you, Another. I guess that's the right thing to say, to a different category. So he wouldn't bring things across. He would send things across after that.
How would he do that?
Getting people working for him. Yes.
So he started like a business.
Exactly. Yes, he started a business. That's what it was. But he wasn't the employee anymore. He was the boss.
It's like instead of killing somebody, like you get somebody else to do the killing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, maybe I'm gonna jump to this. He used to have people working for him that he could have sent someone to. When my dad passed away, I was 15, and I'm jumping a lot after.
You were what? You were how old?
15 years old.
15.
And I was in jail as well. That's why I'm saying I'm probably jumping too many years of that time, because a lot of things happened within then. I was 14 years old. It was October 18, 1994. My birthday's in October 15, and 3 days after my birthday, I got caught with some of his. I got caught with marijuana, bringing marijuana across. 14 years old. I wasn't driving. I was the guy sitting next to the driver. But my job was just to take that guy, get off before he crossed, get off, and then go across walking. But that day, I remember that guy couldn't find the registration of the car, and I just told him, you know what, I'll go with you. I'll go with you. I did that so many times with my dad. Why I can't just get in the car and let's go, you know? And my dad had always tell me, don't ever get in the car crossing the border. I didn't listen to him. Went across, tried to go across, I got caught. But they always knew who was my dad, because he had a background, I could say something like that. And because a lot of people got caught with his chips, but they could never, no se lo podían comprobar. No se lo podían comprobar. So that happened when I was 14 years old. After that, they knew. I was there for only 9 days at first. 9 days, they got me out. I remember my mom coming by. The first day, I cried. I really cried inside. I remember that little thing, that it was nothing but blocks, little room. Probably, they call it 5x6 or whatever, 5x8, and it is a small little room where you could just sleep.
That was in jail?
That was in jail.
That's where you were at? That's
where I was at, yeah, because I got caught. I was there for 9 days. I remember my mom came by. I went to court, then my mom visited me, and I remember this. I'd never forget this, because it was the first time I really knew my mom, I guess, how she was. It was a little table, those white table stuff. What is it, 3x6 or whatever, right? Yeah. But it was a visit, mom and son. And I remember her sitting, and I was like, Mom, I started crying. He said, don't cry. Don't even cry, because you knew what you were doing. I was like, what the fuck, you know? I'm a 14-year-old old. I'm only 14 years old, right? But I always felt older all the time. So what I did, I just handled it, and I said, yeah, that's true. That's true. I knew what I was doing.
You were 14.
Cry. I was only 14 years old. Actually, when I got caught, I'm telling you, it was only 3 days after my birthday.
Did you already have a girlfriend or no?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
I remember her. No, I don't remember her. I know I do. Yeah, I did have a girlfriend. Actually, not only one. I had a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was weird. I mean,
that's very typical with los mexicanos.
Yeah. I started having girlfriends since I was 12.
Yes. Los mexicanos les gustan las viejas y,
sí.
el alcohol.
Sí. Lo bueno que a mí ya nomás es a mi vieja y poquito alcohol.
That's good.
No, sí. So I was 14 years old. I got out. I was in for 9 days, and I got out. So I needed a place to live in Yuma, right? Because I got out on probation. So they got me a place with one of my dad's employees. It was weird what happened, really. So I was in probation, so I couldn't get in. It was more like a house arrest or whatever. I couldn't go out. So I remember that day I told my mom, you know what? I want to go to Mexico. I don't care. I want to go. So we left to Mexico, because I wanted to see my girlfriend, actually, and my dad. No, I took off to Mexico, and when we came across, there's a little place. They call it Morgan, because there's like a liquor store or something right there. And I remember that they pulled us over. They pulled us over, and there's
in Mexico?
No, in the United States already. So I went to Mexico, and I came across. Back then you would come across saying you were a U.S. citizen, and they didn't have no computers. I mean, the technology was way different than now, way different.
Yeah.
So I went to Mexico, came back, and they stopped us right there. It's still Somerton. It's between Somerton and Yuma. There's a little street. There's a little liquor store. So they stopped us right there. I was 14 years old. Just how I said it. I got caught in 9 days in jail. Got out, and I was out probably like for a week, I guess. I can't remember exactly for how long I was out, but they stopped us, and they're like, "Is Roberto Barron here in this truck?" And I'm like, "Yes, that's me." So they arrested me right away. I'm like, of course they have to arrest me. I mean, I just broke my probation, right? And it was so weird that I got caught. They put him into the car and everything. And they said, they were like, "Oh, you know what? This is a juvenile." They're like, "Shoot, that's not him. We need his dad." And I heard through the radio, and I'm like, what the hell's going on, right? So I got in the truck, and I remember back then it was those big cell phones, the big cell phones, or even though you had to stop by and pay on a payphone, right? Yeah. So when I heard that, they took off my handcuffs, and they were like, "Oh no, we're not looking for you. Tell your dad." And my mom was driving that day, I remember, and they're like, "Hey, tell your husband or you, Robert, tell your dad that he has to go and present himself because I think he has like a backup ticket or whatever." But we knew that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
We knew that they were looking for him. So, yes, we went back to that place where we were renting. And I remember it was me, my mom, and a friend that I had that he was always with us and everything. So I remember I went to sleep, and I woke up, and I looked out in the window, and I saw a car. Like there were some fields from that car. Field. Like files de lechuga. I don't know what it was, but there was like a little tree, and I saw cars like stopping, like observing down here. I'm like, you know what? They're looking for us. Yeah. And I told Mom, we should go to Mexico. I mean, back then I didn't like. I didn't like United States at all. I mean, we always lived because of everything. Because of, I mean, I was spoiled with Mexico because in Mexico we could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to get pulled over, whatever, and I used
mordidas?
to. Yes, and not only that. I mean, we used to have like a little charola where I could say, you know what, I'm Robert's son, you know, and I used to have to give them money, so because it was worse if my dad find out that I was doing travesuras, you know, than it was worse with him than with a cop before. Really, I mean, I was much more scared of him. But when I saw those cars, the DEA broke in. Right minutes after, or probably an hour after, I told my mom, we should go. And she said, "No, you're crazy. Nothing's happening." And yes, they came in, broke down the door, handcuffed me. Well, they didn't handcuff me. They handcuffed my mom. And they sit us on a little chair. They were looking for drugs. They didn't find nothing. It was weird. I'm going to tell you the truth. And it's nothing but the truth. Minutes before or hours before, I told the guy, he used to work for my dad, and I told him, you know what, DA or some kind of cops are in front. And he got so scared that he gave me a few bags. I don't know what it was. And he's like, "Hey, well, disappear this." So I jumped and took it out to the other house, like a behind house. I just put him like on bolsas de basura and put him right in the back. And I guess they never found him. They never found him because no one got charged with him. What was in there? I think it was meth. By the way I see it, I think it was meth. But my dad would never work with that. You see, this guy was doing like his own thing on the side, I guess.
What's the difference between have you done meth before?
Yes, I have. Well, back then it wasn't meth. They used to call it crystal, but it's the same shit, I guess. But now you go crazier than before. And
you've done coca, right?
Yeah, cocaine. Actually, like, I started
cocaine like felt amazing.
Yeah, it feels really good.
but I never tried meth, or maybe I did. I think one time they gave me meth instead of coke. Mm-hmm. because it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I tried it, and it burned my nose. It burned my nose. It got bloody, and I started just feeling very weird, and I stopped because I like the cocaine. They used to have like flavors. I don't know if you ever tried flavors, but they used to have like grape flavor. It was really good.
Strawberry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was good too. So they used to have like the strawberry Coke, the grape Coke, And then so it was like smooth and it was good and it made you feel like you were unstoppable, like you were like a billionaire. But then the other one, when I tried it, it burned. It made me bleed right away, and it made me feel bad. So I stopped. But what's the difference between those two?
I started using cocaine when I was 12. I used to take it off. I remember I used to tell my dad, "Hey, you know what? I got a guy that wants to buy an ounce," but it wasn't true. It was for me. The first time I used it, I'm sorry, sister. My big sister gave it to me, you know?
Yeah.
She's the first one that introduced me to, you know, hey, you should try this, you know? But it was something
And
normal.
it was good quality?
It was right out of the block.
The Colombia?
I guess. My dad used to work more with Sinaloas or whatever. I don't know. I shouldn't say, you know, now how things are now.
I wonder.
I mean, you're scared of things that are going now, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I wonder if they still have like some fresh ones in Colombia.
I don't know.
I'm gonna be in
Actually,
Colombia.
I was in Colombia. What was it? A couple years ago.
Actually, I have to go to Colombia this month.
Oh yeah, it's nice. You've been there before, right?
No, but this month I'm going.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, we were in Cartagena. We were.
I'm going to Medellin.
Medellin's beautiful. We were out there only for a few hours. Actually, we met some friends. So we went to a couple of. We know some people in Vegas that invited us to their daughter's wedding, and they did their weddings as well. And what's this place name? But I think it's beautiful. Everywhere is beautiful. I loved Colombia.
Yeah.
They invited us, and we're out there for a whole week. But my wife took advantage, and she said, you know what, we're going here and here and here. And we went to different places, and we met these people from Medellin that when we flew, we had to get those, where you stop and you do a few hours, and then you got to go and get another plane to go. I want to remember this island. I can't remember this island. It's beautiful, too. But yeah, we stopped by Medellin. It was very nice, but... we were talking about about what happened, right? So
was it Aruba? No, not Aruba, right?
No, it wasn't. Oh shit, Aruba? Was it? Well, we were in Santa Marta. We were in. Was it Aruba? It was a little island. There's not many islands.
Not Curacao.
Text your mom, Robert. We love that island.
And before you went to Medellin?
No, no. Right after Medellin, that's where we were heading. But we got another plane. We went. What is it called?
I mean, it could be Curacao.
No, it wasn't Curacao.
No?
I wouldn't remember. It was probably Aruba, the one that you're telling me.
Yeah, because Aruba's right there. Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire.
No, it was probably Aruba.
I mean, Aruba's not that far from Cartagena, Barranquilla.
Yeah, actually, we stopped in Cartagena, and I think we took off from Cartagena. Cartagena is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Because unless you're talking about like Puerto Rico or those are not small.
No,
ones.
it was probably Aruba. And in Cartagena, there's some people rapping for you, and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna make you a song, blah blah blah," and you know, and
yeah.
I mean, it's my first time out of Mexico. I always travel in Mexico. I've been to Cancun, Vallarta, Cabos.
But Aruba is one of the nicest islands I've been to.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And this was Colombia, right? I'm like, shit. And by the accent, they knew you're Mexican.
Yeah.
They always know that you're Mexican. And they know, I mean, dude, I gave them some money, and they're like, yeah, make you a song. And I'm like, hey, you got to pay me for the song. I'm like, what the hell? And I give them like, I don't know. Down there's millions and... I don't know, thousands and millions, you know, on the billete. It's not like here 1, 2, 3. No, down there's 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 1,000,000. So I give them I think 20,000. And it was like, dude, it's not much. It was like $20. I don't know how much it was, but then later on, I give them 50,000. They were, okay, see you later, you know. I mean, but sometimes it's hard to get when you're mixed with the Mexican money and the dollar, and then it's hard to keep up with the thousands, you know. But yes, Colombia is very nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
Actually, we went to Panama, and hopefully in next month, in September, we're going to...
what about Venezuela?
No, I haven't been out there. Yeah, we haven't been out there. My wife doesn't do parties for her birthday no more. Now she decides where she wants to go every year. And Costa Rica, that's where we're going next month. Yeah, I think we're leaving on the 10th.
So what happened with your... because I want to get into your RV business. But what happened with your dad? So your dad you said he got murdered?
Yes, he did. Actually, that's what I was saying. I was in jail I was already 15 years old. This happened November 25th. November 25th, they pulled me out of my cell. I was in juvenile in Catalina in Tucson, Arizona. The reason is, it was weird. When I got caught with my mom that I was telling you, that DEA came in, my mom got 5 years of jail. And I was only going to get it probably because conspiracy.
What does that mean?
Conspiracy means that you cover whoever's a delinquent. Like, say if you're drug dealing and I'm always with you and I don't say nothing, I don't report you, say something like that, right?
Still
Conspiracy. Yes. Yes, like planning, exactly.
So like if Maria is with me the whole time and she knows, she knows that I have some stuff, she'll go to jail?
Yes, she does. She does. And more if she said, oh, I know this guy, she'll probably buy it from you. She's stuck with you already. So that's what they charged her, conspiracy. And more than nothing, because she wouldn't give my dad up. You know, she wouldn't give my dad up. And so she got 5 years. When they killed my dad, I heard, I wasn't there in person.
Yeah.
There was a guy yelling in front of my house in Mexico, and he was yelling. And what happened, my dad hadn't had any sleep, was probably doing coke too. He was passing by with one of his boys that helped him there. Very good friend of mine too. He was driving, and there was this guy yelling, hijo de tu puta madre o perra madre, no, in front. And my dad thought he was yelling to him. That's what I heard, just how I said I wasn't there in person. So he pulled back and said, who are you yelling to? He said, I'm yelling to you. So my dad got off, and this guy pulled out a gun in front of him, pulled him out, pointed it to him. And my dad, he didn't have a gun, so he told the other kid, hey, go bring me the gun from my house. This is all what the people told me, right? So the guy was pointing at me, he said, shoot me, because if you don't shoot me, I am going to shoot you. So when he brought him out, he got the gun, first shot, he flew the gun from his fingers, flew him the 3 fingers, and he shot him twice in the chest. When the guy fell off, he grabbed the gun from the floor, threw some shots, and gave 1 shot to my dad in his stomach. My dad had he had diabetes, like very intense or whatever, but only 1 shot killed us. They took him to the hospital. By the time he got to the hospital, supposedly he was dead. So I get a call. I didn't get a call. I got officer knocked me on the door. And you know the bad thing, it's like, I don't know, things happen. Actually, that day, when you used to get caught with marijuana when you're a juvenile, you only get like 3 months inside juvenile.
Yeah.
Then you go out and that's it, right? Well, I was telling you, I got it from my dad. It was between, I think it was like December 27, December 28. And I was there for Christmas, and this was in 1994. And I said, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be here. I mean, I don't want to be here. I don't want to spend New Year's here. And I tried to escape. I remember I hit a officer. I planned everything. It was me and another 4 kids. And we did escape. And I told Robert, because I've never seen, I mean, I know if you'd seen the internet now, you could probably find out, or, you know. I'm like, you know what, I never figured out back, you know. But yes, I did this plan. We jumped the wall. There was only 2 officers in the night, one for kids, for boys, and one for the girls. So we started acting like we were fighting. The officer came in, so we got him. And where you used to go out for rec, there was a pole right in the corner, and there was no roof, nothing at the top. So I knew that as soon as we make it up there, we could run. And yes, and that happened. So
so you escaped too?
I did escape. I did escape from juvenile. I wasn't gonna do much time in juvenile. I think I was gonna do 2 to 3 months. I didn't get sentenced before. If I would have known, I would have waited, right? But I was right there. I escaped from juvenile, and I remember when one of the guys used to be there from Yuma, and all of us used to be from Sonora, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, Robert, you just follow me. I have a friend right here across the street. So we did. We jumped, and I was the second one. But when I was following the other guy, before I jumped down, I heard, I can't. So I went back, helped the guy, pulled up, and we ran. By the time we ran, I had missed already the other guy, so I couldn't follow him. So he said he was going to go across the street. When I was going to go across the street, there was all these cops coming by, so I ran the other opposite side. I remember that I run, and there was nothing but fields back then. Now in these days, there's clinics, Walmart, so many things around there. And I remember I ran and I saw the hospital. So I ran probably like almost a mile. Well, I didn't run. I was probably, running. Back then I was more chubby, I guess, too.
Oh, really?
It was like 220, I think, or 210.
You were how old?
No, I was 14. Yeah, 14
so
years old.
you were a chubby 14-year-old?
I've always been a chubby guy. I've always been.
Your son's skinny.
I know they are, but their mom is skinny and beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah. And actually, I lost the weight. I had to cheat. I did the bypass or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I had to cheat.
Yeah.
But I'm now on trying to take care of myself.
Yeah.
But no.
When you were in juvenile, did they have drugs there?
No, not in juvenile.
No?
Yes, in juvenile, yeah, but not on that juvie. The other one's like a prison. And there it was.
Cocaine?
Marijuana. They could probably get cocaine too, but it was
how do you smoke marijuana inside the jail?
I'll let you know right now. While I tried to escape, they got me under a thing, and that's when they sentenced me to like a type of a prison. Mm-hmm. So that was Catalina. So we were there. How do you smuggle things inside? It wasn't me because I never got a visit. I think in the whole year and a half, I only got like 2 times visiting. It was from an uncle. From my uncle, I guess, only because my mom was in jail, and I don't remember my sister going to visit me. Not to that juvenile. So he went and visited me, and that was it. So I wouldn't get that many visits. So, but I guess when you are in some kind of, como in el ambiente, some kind of people, when you start rolling with people, just like you said it the other day, start getting together with millionaires, you're going to become a millionaire, you know? I used to be a drug addict. I used to be a drug smuggler and all that. So that's all the people that you're going to get, you know? So I know this kid that he was probably my age, 14, 15 years old, and their parents used to bring him a little bit of bolitas, or balls, bombas, how do you say, balloons, with marijuana inside. How do you smoke it? They used to make them, smoke it, and they used to cover the little window. And when you smoke it, you have to roll it right away and blow into a little towel, cold towel, wet towel. So the smoke wouldn't go, you know. Later on, they'll smell it a little bit. We used to put so many things that you get away, you know. But that day that my dad passed away, I remember that they had to lock us up because they were smelling marijuana inside the dorms. Well, it's not dorms. It was all nothing but cells. And the officer came by. It was a lady, very nice lady. I remember her. She used to always tell me, Robert, you got to control yourself, your anger and all this. And you're almost out. Because down there, it was by levels. You're what is it, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. Yeah. You have to go by levels every month. And say, like me, I was there for aggravated assault and drugs. I had to be a senior for 3 months. And when that happened to my dad, I had already became a senior, so I didn't have much time left. If you break down, before it wouldn't be like, oh, you get a year and you get out. No, you have to become a senior, keep it for 3 months, and then you get free. You know, you go out on parole. This is in Arizona. So when she came out, she pulled me out, and the first thing I saw, it was a preacher, the guy that used to be in the chapel in the Sundays and all that. And I started laughing. I started laughing because I thought he was gonna ask me if I knew anything about the drugs. And then she sat me down and she's like, Robert, we got something to tell you. I'm like, what's going on? You know, what's going on? You know what? You're behaving so good. You're almost out. Yeah. We need you to get you out of here. You've been here longer than what you had to. I'm like, stop all this shit. What's going on? And then the preacher arrived and he said, your dad has just passed away. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this can't be happening. The only reason I wanted to get out of jail was just to hug him, you know? So I'm like, no, this ain't happening. This ain't happening, you know? So she tried to approach me, and I'm like, don't even get close to me, you know? I used to think I was the badass back then, you know? And I'm like, don't even touch me. And I started running, and I started crying, and I started yelling. This happened outside, like in the camp. And I was like yelling and everything. Then later on, I calmed down. The officer came by and she just said, can I get closer? Yeah, you know. And Well, yeah. Can I make a call? Yes. And what happened that they never told me how he had died, but they told me that they had killed him. So I never knew exactly until I got out. So they took me. Actually, I went to have dinner with my cousin the other day. That's his nephew. And he's like, I remember when you came by, they pulled me out actually. And because at that place, I tried to escape too. So I had 2 attempts of, one was escape and the other one was an attempt of escape. So what happened that I was chained and they never let my hands go. I was chained all the time, and the only thing that I can remember is touching my dad's hands. That's it. I mean, I can remember exactly how they felt, you know. So yes, that's part of it. And then I got out, left to Mexico, and just how my son knows about this too. I used to go in and out, in and out. I mean, I always try to tell him the truth, what happened. Well, it all depends because he was every year that it was his birthday, Robert, he used to tell me, Dad, tell me what happened when you were 10. Dad, what happened when you were 11? I'm like, why you want to know my life? And I was always count him. I used to always tell him my life every year, how you used to be. So when he hit 14, I told him, I was in jail when I was 14, Robert. You got to be careful. At 12, I told him, you know what?
When you're in jail that young, can you have a girlfriend and take her in or no?
No, not back then. Well, let me tell you. When I was,
I think the hardest part would be not getting laid for that long.
Wait, hold on. When I was 15, I got out. When I was 16, they caught me with some drugs that used to be my brother-in-law's. You know, we were trying to make some money, and I got caught. And because I was a juvenile, still I was 16. He was older. I took all the blame. So when we were there, we were at the Federal right there in San Luis. There's down there's different jails, different places where they take you. It depends what kind of crime you do, right? And
that's Mexico, right?
That's Mexico. I didn't have a birth certificate. I was 16 years old, and because my wisdom teeth?
Yeah.
Wisdom teeth. That's what you call them, right? I had wisdom teeth before, I don't know when they came out, I didn't even felt them. But the doctor saw that I had wisdom teeth and I didn't have a birth certificate or an ID. They sent me to prison with all 18 or older, and I was only 16. It's a long story, but I mean, I was 16, I was there, then I was there for 2 months. Then my birth certificate came in because back then it used to take 45 days to get it because they had to be mailed and whatever. So it took 45 days to get there. I was there for 2 months. Then I went to juvie there. I was going to be there for 30 days. I got in a fight with a kid, broke him his chin, and they sent me up to Hermosillo. Hermosillo, that is bad. That is, it's one of the places that is bad because you're away from your family, 8 hours away. You don't get it. I never got it. Oh, I got one visit there too, and from the same uncle, if I'm not wrong. I was there, got out, stole the vehicle in front of the comandancia when I was 17, in front of the police department. Yeah. I don't know why I did. I never liked to steal because my dad used to be always like, you better never steal, never better steal. I don't know why I did it that time. I was hanging out with the wrong people. I was already drugs. I was in meth back then, meth. You were asking me how do I use it. There's so many ways to use it, so many ways. But still, I was in the wrong drug well, drugs ain't good, you know, but I mean, that thing really hooked me up. And I guess when you're in drugs, all you want is just to forget things, you know. I wouldn't care. I mean, I wouldn't care if I was in jail. Sometimes I used to prefer to be in jail than being outside. More when your dad used to be one of the biggest drug dealers in San Luis, and then from one day to another, you don't have nothing, right? It's like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know, why should I, can I say bad words?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm expressing myself. Why the fuck do I want to be here if I don't have shit anymore, you know? My mom's in jail. My sister doesn't care. I mean, that's all I had. Maybe I thought she didn't care, but she did. But she was passing through a lot of shit too.
Yeah.
She was in jail too, leaving his kids. My big sister was in jail for a few times. Actually, right now I got we're looking for my brother. I haven't known nothing from him for probably 9 months. He's lived. You have
a bunch of people in jail.
We come from a bad family. Not a bad family, we call it dysfunctional, una familia disfuncional. I don't know how to say dysfunctional.
What's the biggest difference between Mexico jails and the U.S. jails?
Oh, here you're in the glory here.
Here?
Yeah. I mean, you could buy soups, chips, everything.
So in jail here you could take girls?
I don't know. Not here. In Mexico,
No?
you can.
How do you do it in Mexico?
Actually, down in Mexico, you could have your own visa. Before, I don't
So
know how
Mexico
it is
is
now.
better then.
I'm talking about what? I was 16, 17. I'm talking about more than 20 years. Actually, about 28 years ago, 25 years ago. Down there, it's you buy your cell. You don't. If you want a good cell, you have to buy it. You had to back then. I don't know now. You buy your cell, you buy your bunk, and I remember when I got caught. That time they took me to prison, to the adult prison. I was only 16. I was scared. They take you inside cell like with 40, 50 people for 15 days evaluate to see where they're going to throw you, right? So this big guy, I remember this big guy comes up and he talks, hey, ¿dónde está Roberto? Where's Robert? Who's Robert? Who's Junior? I'm like, and they call him, ¿Quién es el hijo del chinchorro? That's how they used to call my dad. And I come out very scared, and I'm like, you know what? That's me. That's you? Yeah. You know what? Your dad did a lot of good things for me. So whenever if they do take you in, just tell them that El Gordo Collins. Gordo Collins, I don't know. I haven't seen that guy for a long time. Well, all my respect for him, but I remember when they told me, you know what? Just tell them that you're going to go to me, and they're going to take you straight to me. I own him a lot because inside is very tough to keep without fighting, or even sometimes keep alive, It's like this. I remember we were all laughing. I was 16 years old, and this old guy came from another cell, and he was like, shut the fuck up, or I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And he jumped right away, and he's like, hey, dude, he's just a kid. I don't give a shit. He's here, and he better fucking follow the rules. I'm like, holy shit, And I was like, fuck. And it's true. You got to respect,
And that's in Mexico?
That was in Mexico. That guy's you were inside with people for life, people that are making life, and you're almost next door of the cell. There used to be a 3-bunk bed cells. And, I was there. And the last time I got caught again with marijuana. I was barely 18 years old. I was bringing it across for another guy, and I got caught. Did 1 year. As soon as I got out, I pulled out. I went back to Mexico. I was in probation probably for a month or two, but they gave me 4 months in county. Yeah. And then there used to be like a program where you could go out and work. So I met this guy, and this is where everything started. My business started.
Yeah.
Really. I met this guy, Ivan Cortez, very good friend of mine. I met him in there, and he got me into a work furlough where I could go out and work from jail. And I used to work across the street from the Yuma County Jail in a Jack in the Box. So that's where I went, applied. They gave me work right away because his mom and him used to work there, and a lot of people that he knew. So they gave me a job right away. I remember, I think it was like $4.25 the minimum. Mm-hmm. I dreamed being in Jack in the Box my whole life. I love flipping burgers, really. I'm not lying. I
used to like Jumbo Jack.
No, I was the quickest one. We used to raise making Jumbo Jacks. When you used to get an order for 15 burgers or 20 burgers, that's mine.
And the crispy fries?
Yeah, everything. The curly fries.
The curly fries, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never told me like how you get girls in jail, though.
I never got one. I never did, really. I never did. But you could see, they used to take them. There's so many bad things that happen, Albert. Really, there's what I really know. I remember this guy used to be like he wouldn't even have that much money, but I don't know how this happened. He used to give money to a guy, mm-hmm. An addict, because there's a lot of drugs in there, an addict, and he used to sell his wife in there. She used to go inside into visitation, and other people used to take her. I thought that was very sad, Those sad things do happen. And I'm like, what kind of world do we live, And back then, I wouldn't pay too much attention. It was like, it's not your business, and I wouldn't even get involved. But now I think about it, like, how the hell do you do those things, It's not, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to sell your mom or your wife, because I heard that he even sold his mom, but I guess his mom or wife used to like it because they wouldn't do it. I guess they wouldn't even go to visit, but it's hard. I don't know. It's something crazy, I guess.
So when do you stop, when do you retire from jail and you stop going back?
when I stopped going back is when I told you that I got caught right there. That I used to work for. I got caught with marijuana. I got sentenced for 1 year in county jail and 3 years probation.
This was when?
That was in 1998 when I was 18 years old. It was someday in November.
That was the last time?
That wasn't the last time. That was the last time I got convicted for a crime, because the last time I came and turned myself in for the same crime. So I got 1 year in county. I started working in Jack in the Box. Then my mom got out, but they deported her. So I said, fuck that. I want to go. I want to go visit her. And I remember I asked for permission, and they did give me permission. So I went and visited my mom, came back, and the second time I think she got sick or something. I asked the probation, you know what, my mom got sick. I want to go see her. And he's like, nope, you can't. Dude, my mom's sick. I will come back. And said, nope, I'm going to take off. Do whatever you want. That's what he told me. I said, you know what, fuck this. I'm gone. Took off to Mexico and never came back. Well, in that time, I wasn't thinking about coming back. I said, you know what, I'm going to go visit my mom. Sorry. And so I went, visit her, and stayed. I stayed out there. I was 18, 19 years old, and I got back into my addiction. I got back. I was using crystal meth, and for some reason, I do believe in angels. I do believe in God. For some reason, I saw this little girl, my wife. Well, I was telling her, I was 19, she was 14. She was driving a little Bronco. I'm like, hey, who's that girl? You know, she always parented like more years. I'm like, hey, who's that girl? She's like, oh, that's Jerry's sister. I'm like, what the fuck? Let's go see. So I went out there to my wife, I was in jail with his brother, and they used to call him Cuñado. I never saw my wife before. And when I heard who she was and I saw her driving, I'm like, whoa, what a beautiful girl, you know? So
she was 14?
She was 14.
But she already looked like a big
Yeah,
woman.
she did. She always did. And she's beautiful. She's beautiful. A lot of people, this is the weird thing. A lot of people never thought that we were going to be together so long. Even though when I got together, well, let me go back. I went out, met her, and she never put any interest in me, you know? I was driving a truck. Actually, I was driving the truck where my dad passed away. I still have that truck. Mm-hmm. It's a Dodge Ram, 1995 Dodge Ram. And I was driving the truck, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh no, I went by. Her brother came out like, what's up? Hey, is that your sister? Yeah. Oh, and she called her, hey, look, I'm going to present you to some friends, right? So that's how I met her. And then started hanging out there when I knew that she was out there, because actually she used to go only on the weekends, because she lived in San Luis, Arizona. She was going to school on this side. Actually, she was born here in L.A. And this was where I say that God is so beautiful, right? I've never went out with a girl from the United States. I've always were going out with girls from Mexico, right? And there's nothing wrong. But I mean, I see a lot of people frustrating that they're U.S. citizens and they can't bring them across, right? So, I mean, I met this girl. She was born here in the United States. And, we started going out. Suddenly, we started going out. She always remembers, because she said, I remember when you asked me for my first kiss, right? So, it happens. We started going out. Suddenly, 6 months, 9 months later.
You didn't ask her how old are you?
No.
No?
At first I didn't. And things happened so quick. We had sex. She came out pregnant. That's when she was pregnant with little Robert. And one day she just came back and she said, you know what? I don't want to see you anymore. Not here in Mexico. If you really, really love me, and if you really care for your son that's going to be born, you're going to go turn yourself in. Because actually, I just how I said, I ran away to Mexico. I'm like, what the fuck? And she'll come back. One day she didn't came. 2 days she wouldn't answer me the calls and everything. And say, you know what? Fuck that. I called a friend, Pedro, will you take me across? He had already taken me across once. And he's like, yeah, let's go. Or for reals, yeah. If I get caught, I will get caught. Well, I didn't get caught. I went to my grandma's house. I called out. No, my bad. I went to her house. And for some reason, somebody recognized me, and they called the cops. So I left. I was out there for probably a few days, and my grandma used to live a few blocks from there. And suddenly, I came out to the porch, and I was actually, she went and visited me, and we were out in, and my grandma's like, hey, go out and whatever. And so I went out, sit in the chair. She sat on my lap, not even a minute. Everything was all over cops, and my probation came in and everything. Like, you know what? You did probation violation. You got to go. And when I was in court, they tried to give me 3 years and a half for breaking my probation or whatever. And I remember that the judge just crossed it out with a red pen. She just said, you know what, you already served 1 year in jail, which is the year that I was talking about, and you're just gonna go serve 85%, which is like eight months and whatever, and you'll be out. So that was the last time I was in jail.
And you were how old?
I was already 20. Yes, I was already 20.
And you were already expecting your first son?
My first son, Robert, yes. Yes. So she was pregnant.
You were 20 and she was like, what, 15?
No, yeah, she was 15. I was 19. I turned in 20. When I got out on 20, she was 15. Yes. So I went in.
And your son was born already when you got out?
Yes, 2 months old. And you know, I met him exactly in the Jack in the Box that I used to work for. Because it's right off I-8.
You still go to Jack in the Box?
I do. Yeah. Salads only.
So then what? So that you stopped going to jail at that point, and then what shifted you to change, and then how did you get into business? Because you had a wild life.
I did. You know, I guess when I saw my kid for first time, I hold in my arms. I knew it was gonna be a different life. I said, you know what? That's it. I want to change, you know, and all those cards, all those letters, letters I used to send to my wife back then. I used to promise her so many things, right? Well, I got back with this friend, Ivan Cortez. I go back and I went to the different, how do you say, opposite side. I didn't go to Jack in the Box no more. I went to Burger King when I got out of jail. Yeah. So I go to Burger King because the assistant manager from Jack in the Box
has the Whoppers.
Yeah. And it was inside the Marine base too in Yuma. But the assistant manager, I used to get along with her very good, that she moved to Burger King. So when I got out, I asked for her job, and she's like, come on over. She knew I was a good worker, right? So I go out there, apply. The first day, yes, go ahead. So I started working at Burger King. And then I started talking to my friend, and he's like, hey, Robert, you know what? I got a business that I bought, cleaning pools. Back then, he used to have like a count of 50 pools, and then he dropped it like to 15 or 20 pools. So he lost a lot of pools, and he's like, hey, come on, let's start cleaning them. And then, you know, so we used to get up at 5 in the morning, start cleaning pools all the way to 1 p.m. And then between 1 and 2, I used to get changed, and I used to go to 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. to work at Burger King. So I had 2 jobs. So that was in the summer. And when winter started coming in, I think it was like probably October, he told me about a business that he had, not a business, but a job that he has. He started washing RVs in a place where his dad used to work at, in an RV park. So he's like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna buy a machine. He used to have an old Ford Ranger that used to waste more oil, because he used to burn more oil than gasoline. I mean, we used to be pouring aceite oil into the motor, because it used to be an oil burner. So he put a tank in the back, we put a power washer, put some brushes, and started washing RVs. I started working for him, and then I got my income tax, because I was working at Burger King. Yeah. I got my income tax. This happened in January, February, and he's like, you know what? If you spend those $8,000 with me, we'll become business partners. We'll buy another truck.
So you got an $8,000 check?
Huh?
You got an $8,000 check?
Yeah, for an income tax, around $8,000 check, because they used to pull me out, and I reported him. I remember that day that my father-in-law took care of him more than I did. Yeah. So he was like, hey, I'm gonna put him in my tax, and my wife's like, no, Dad, he's out now, so you can't put him in your taxes, because he used to get a lot of money. He used to work for on sprinklers for the fields and all that. Like, no, Dad, I'm sorry, but it's his son. He has to report him, you know? Yeah. So I did. They gave me like I want to say like $8,000 check. I can't really remember, to be honest with you, Albert. But I remember.
So your son made you some money?
Yeah, he did. after I get in off of jail. That was easy money.
Yeah.
So we bought a truck, another
So
truck.
he was like the founder of the business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You put him on your income tax, got a nice little $8,000 check, and founded the business.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's true. Bought that second
So
truck.
he's the founder, you're the CEO.
But you see, and I tried to leave everything. He doesn't want nothing from me no more. Now I'm very proud of him. He opened his own company now, concrete business, and
does he drink or no?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he better not be using drugs though.
A veces
Yeah.
le pasan.
And yes, but yeah, it's for me. It was, I think, working. It was something new for me because I never worked, but it was something nice to get back home,
Yeah.
take a shower, put my kid on my lap or whatever, carry him, and be with my wife. You know, it was something new for me because all that love that I wouldn't get when I was a kid, I was thinking. I think that's what I had found. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I&R started. Ivan and Robert.
And that was so the company started like almost 20 years ago?
With him, I think it was like 21 years ago with Ivan and Robert. Yes. We were only together for, I want to say, 2 to 3 years. I started fixing my house in Mexico, and I decided to go to live to Mexico and come across the border like everybody does out there, you know? Not everybody, but most of the people does. So you'll be saving rent money, and you own your same house, but you do way more time doing line, spend more gas, I guess. But that's the way we see it, right? You feel more free in Mexico, supposedly, right? So I built up that house. Actually, that house, I love that house because actually that was my heritage. ¿Cómo se dice? Herencia. My dad left it to me.
Yeah.
That was our main house where we grew up and everything. So I grew up there. My kids grew up there too for right now, and I hope my grandkids too. Well, I'm not growing up there no more, but at least go out for the weekends because now I got a nice pool. This is a nice house that I got out there whenever you guys want to go. It's an Airbnb, the one that I told you. We fixed it up, 4-bedroom, game room, and everything. So I started going to Mexico. Did start getting involved with some other kind of people again, you know, but so my buddy, we started having some kind of diferencias, I want to say, you know, diferencias, how do you say in English? We were thinking differences, yes. So I told him, you know what, I'm going to get out, I'm sorry. And he's like, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure, but you know what, you built this business, so this goes to you. We're just going to split up. Back then, we had already 4 trucks. When we split up, we had 4 trucks, so I kept 2, he kept 2, but he kept the number with all the clients. Yeah. So he kept it, so I had to start all over again with our customers. And yes, and that happened. I guess now, what made me a lot of difference, I start working by myself, start getting employees, but what really helped me, it was when I expanded. This is in Yuma. Then I met this guy that offered me in Quartzsite, Arizona. You probably went through there to go to Scottsdale. It's a little ghost town, but in the winter, it's like 7 or 8 months out of the year. Yeah, I mean it's packed with RVs all over the desert and everything. It's right before you hit a Buckeye. If you're driving from here to down there on I-10. So I expanded.
You probably flew over it.
Oh, you went in yeah. He probably flew over it. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. Someday. That's what he keeps telling me. Let's buy a plane. I have to listen to him. Well, you probably, right now you don't see nothing because there's nothing but 2 stores and that's it. Well, I expanded to Quartzsite, and later on, 1 or 2 years after, I expanded to Parker. 45 minutes after that. So I started spending out my business. And that's where I started making more money when I expanded. But not only that, I don't only wash them and wax them anymore. Yeah. I started looking for repairs, roofs, everything. And then suddenly I started thinking, why shouldn't I just start doing more, you know? And what I started doing it, I started advertising for body and paint. So I met this guy. I told him, you know what? What happens if I give you work? Will you give me a commission, right? And he's like, yeah, I will. So, but I was like, dude, I charge them, I sell it for you. Why shouldn't I be my own boss? So I met this guy with a lot of talent, Emmanuel Furcades, he's my partner. now in this day, I told him, you know what, you want to come and work for me? He says, yes, I'm willing to work for you. He had barely came to the United States, and he has a lot of talent. And I told him, you know what, come work for me. I'll give you so much. We wouldn't even have work. I mean, I wouldn't have no body work. He's like, I'll be like, paint my vans, paint my car. He's like, dude, we're not even getting any customers. Are you sure this is gonna work? And I'm telling him, dude, don't worry. I'll give you $500 a week. That was 8 years ago. $500 a week. Because he was getting like $380. He used to work in a ranch or something like that. So I told him, I give you $500 a week. Just trust me. We'll do something, you know? It's like, are you sure, Robert? Are you sure? We were out like for a month or two. Boom, we got our first job. He was painting a RV with a door. This guy he was a handicap, so they adapted a door. It was white, and this beautiful RV with stripes and everything. I told him, here's our first job. $500 we charged that job. Right now it's probably like $4 grand, you know? $500, and I'm like, dude, are you sure that you can paint it? Are you sure? He's like, yeah, trust me. Now that I trusted you, you trust me.
So what got you like into RVs? What, like, were you always passionate about RVs?
No,
now
never.
You have a company that cleans them, and then you have a company that fixes them, right?
Yes.
Bodywork.
Yes. This guy, Ivan Cortez, got me into it. He said that he had done it like a season before when I got back with him, and if I wanted to help him out. That's where it got me inside the RVs.
But did you have a mentor that taught you?
No one taught me. Before that, I didn't. I did.
Did you own an RV yourself?
No.
So you just decided to like.
I didn't even own a car back then. I didn't. When I started washing RV,
so where'd you get the idea? Just because of
him? Yeah, because he had already washed them a year before. But we didn't know what else to do but just wash them. We didn't even know that we could wax them. I didn't even know that.
How long does it take to wash an RV now?
Right now, about 30 minutes. 30 to 35
and how much
minutes.
do you charge for an RV?
Our minimum is $75, but normally it depends on the areas. Yuma is $75 to $80.
How many RVs do you wash a month, a day?
A day, but we don't wash them anymore. But it's very rare that we wash an RV. Normally now it's wash and hand wax, and a wash and hand wax, our minimum is $175 in Yuma up to $220. In Quartzsite, it's $220 to $250, and same prices up more north, Parker and Lake Havasu. But it takes me about an hour and 45 minutes. It does.
But you have a lot of people now that help you wash. More.
In the winter, I get more employees. I think I counted over 20 people working for me.
Yeah.
Right now, what do we got? Probably around just washers. I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
And you already have your clients where you do service, right?
That's the thing, Albert. That's why I want to learn more. It's all word of mouth. People comes to us every year, and but I want to learn more because you talked actually when you gave us on the mastermind. What is it called where I went? Driven. Yeah. It's about when they talk about how to keep getting clientele. That's what I want to learn. How to make them. How to give them like an update every time, you know. I do have a lot of people that comes back repeated, but we always have new people coming back. So it's I want to keep I want to learn how to keep them all the time, you know, because there's a lot of well, I don't call it competition. There's a lot of people doing the same thing, and even cheaper than we are. So there's always, if they knock on their door.
You don't sell the price, you sell the service.
Exactly. That's what we do. That's what we do. Actually, I'm the expensiest one out there, probably.
That's good.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the cheapest.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because that's the way of a...
Like, I don't like going to cheap restaurants. I like going to the nice ones that are expensive.
Yeah. And me, I go to all of them, really. I love tacos. I mean, if I stop to a nice taqueria, some person selling tacos right there, I think those are the best.
But like, for example, like I could go to East LA and go to like a cheap Mexican restaurant, and it'll just, they don't have good margaritas. They have portable tequila. It's dirty. The restrooms have like shit all over.
Yes.
And so like if I go to Javier's here in Century City, they have like top shelf tequila. They bring me my margarita. It's nice. Like everybody's nice, and then the restrooms, you have somebody giving you a towel. So I like the experience. So I rather pay more than to go somewhere else that's dirty.
You know, I like that too. And that's what I've been telling a lot of people. It's very hard for me to believe myself that I am in that. That's why when I came to Driven, it changed a lot of the things, because I started seeing other people. I'm like, what the heck? He's a millionaire. He's a millionaire, and that's a billionaire. Oh shit! I mean, between people, you know. And sometimes it's hard. Even though I know that I do more than $1 million a year, it's hard for me to believe it, because it's because it's by the place where I come from, you know. And another thing that my sons always tell me, it all depends who you hang out with.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be the smartest guy of the crowd. I mean, you want to.
Well, let me ask you a question. You went out with a few girls before you got your wife, right?
Yeah.
And when you found your wife, you were like, oh, this is the one.
Yes.
And then after you met your wife, you're like, now I'm not gonna, all the ugly girls, I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's kind of like when you drive a Ferrari, like you're like, oh, I don't want to drive anything else.
Yeah.
So like when you get used to, like when you hang out with super wealthy people,
yes,
then you're like, I like being with these people better because I get better ideas, and it makes me grow more.
Yes.
So that's why like me, I got used to now they go and they go to my house and they get my dog and they groom him. That's way better than I'd rather pay more for that than to have to drive my dog to Petco or whatever so that he could get washed. Then you drive back and then you might get in an accident on your way. Then you get in a fight with another dog owner and then you got to wait in line and pay. Like, it's such a waste of time, but you don't realize that until you have like, hey, somebody like you, like, hey, I'm going to service your RV. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to give you the best experience. My price is not the cheapest, but I don't sell price. I sell service.
Yes.
It's like when you come here, didn't you feel good? Like you have the bar, the
yes,
the office.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Your place is beautiful. I was surprised.
Imagine if you went to like a little store and like a little office in East LA. Like you're gonna be like, oh, your AC's not working, man. I don't like this place. So you get used to the good stuff.
Yes, you do, and very very fast.
Like when I get an RV, I'm gonna take it to you.
Yeah, you bring it down.
Do you go to the RVs?
We go to the RVs, and we just got our second shop. That's where I started Robert's RV Solutions. That it's more than just a body and paint and a detail. You know, I bought I did Robert's RV Solutions when I got this shop. We've been there, I want to say around 6 to 8 months. Yeah. Okay, I got my second shop now. This one I'm buying. It's under contract right now, and hopefully very soon it's gonna be mine. I already paid more than half, so must be mine now. You know?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. We're gonna go over a lot of the marketing stuff and personal brand and just scaling your whole social media and all of that stuff.
Yes.
And I know, and a lot of people have RVs that I already know I can send you over.
Yes.
So like if anybody here wants to reach out to you, they want to find you, maybe they have an RV that they want to service with you.
Yes.
Where can people find you? And
people could find us on Facebook, Robert's RV Solutions, or in our Instagrams, Señor Robert Barron, or Robert's RV Solutions as well. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Robert.
Albert, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get an RV now.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
The Driven RV.
And just to finish this, we are in Yuma, Quartzsite, Parker, Lake Havasu, Palm Desert, and also California. It's only Palm Desert, Herb, California, and Cholo, Arizona in the summers.
You're all over the place.
Yes, we try. Sometimes it's hard to think that we're the biggest, but we are. We are the biggest mobile detail in at least all south of Arizona, southwest of Arizona. We're the biggest ones, and now we're coming into California as well.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Robert.
Thank you.